Hi, welcome to the next video. This is about knowing and growing yourself and becoming a leading manager. This is one of my favorite subjects in the HBR book. I'll give you the resource information down below, and you can feel free to read the chapter. It's just a really excellent chapter about that transition. I talked a little bit about it in the last video, but we're going to get into it a little bit more in this one. So there's a big difference between being a manager and being a leader. And as I said last time, when you're in a management position, you're dealing more with the organizational skills of the organization, basically the budgeting, the planning, the day-to-day tasks, and you're working to meet your goals, coordinate the teams, that kind of thing. So it's very task driven. When you're a leader, you're working on how to influence your team members and how to motivate them, and you're working on the purpose and passion behind your everyday tasks. So big difference between the two, but there is a way that you can actually be both. And in order to be a very successful team, you're going to want to become that leading manager type. So let's talk about the difference between the positional authority and that personal influence. I mentioned it again in the last video, but we'll summarize it real quickly here. When you get that promotion and now you're in a position of authority, you now have the ability to make decisions for your group. So you can take that and say, okay, well, now I've got the authoritative ability. I can decide what we're going to do and just run with it. Or you can look at it as now you've got that ability to influence your team. And you can develop that trust and credibility and work with your team to make a difference and to actually achieve your organizational goals. So you're in that management position because somebody had deemed you worthy and gave you the promotion, but now you're also in that opportunity to make a difference in the team and the passion and the purpose behind it. So realize that you've been given both opportunities, not just a position to manage the organization, but you've also been given that opportunity to influence others. So great. It's important when you're transitioning to understand your role. There's two different things you do as a manager, and especially as a leading manager. You've got the people management as well as the task management. So managers tend to be very task driven and the leaders tend to be very people driven. So there are ways you can actually be both people driven and task driven. So acknowledging that you've got two different roles now as a manager, not just task driven, but also people driven, will help you become that leading manager that you want to be. So there are common leadership traits, and the Harvard Business Review book actually mentions them and goes into a lot of detail about what they are, but I'm going to sum them up fairly quickly for you. There's the intellectual type, the socio-emotional type, and the organizational type. The intellectual types of the leadership traits are being informed, staying future focused, being decisive, and then being comfortable with ambiguity. So being comfortable in that realm of the things are just not real clear right now, but it's okay. So being future focused, I think, helps because you understand what the long-term goals are. So when something's not real clear currently, you're comfortable because you know where you guys are headed. So that's part of that intellectual leadership trait. As far as the social-emotional traits, that includes being self-aware, being engaged, being trustworthy. Those are all pretty important to be a good leader. And as far as the organizational skills, working with that collaborative technique, and then working on your influential skills with your team. So those are common leadership traits that will help you become that leading manager, in addition to understanding your roles as being both people-oriented and task-driven. And then understanding that in your new position, you're not just a manager, you're also been given a leadership opportunity. So use this quick video, this is a very quick one, but use this information to work on becoming a leading manager, and I hope it'll give you enough tools to work on it. This is the book that actually I've used, and I'll give you the information below like I said, but this is the one that actually gets into detail about it, so check it out. One of my favorites. Thanks guys. I'm gonna go ahead and make the next video.